G'day everyone, my name's Cautious Pancake, and ever since the Fun Pimps put out that video showing off the new flame hazards for Alpha 21, I knew that as long as those flame traps did damage to zombies as well as players, then I was going to have to build a base using them. So I've come on out to Hybrid Energy to have a go and see what can be done. I've chosen this POI specifically since it's the same one that was featured, so showing off this hazard hopefully isn't much of a spoiler. There's a bunch of other POIs that use the hazard as well, so you may find a better option in your playthroughs to build with rather than this one. First things first though, we need to clear out the room, so let's get in there. Now we can't go in through the front door, because following the standard path for the POI would require us to turn off the flame hazard to get through, so instead we're going to come and smash our way through here. If you listen you can actually hear the flame hazard off through the wall to the side there, so we just need to come around back here and smash our way through the door. Don't think we've woken anyone up. He's definitely not awake anymore. That's a dead body, I think. Now we've woken everybody up. Except him. We've woken somebody up. There we go. Here's one. Here's two. Let's use this barrel. Say goodnight to you. That woke somebody else up. And probably half the neighbourhood. So, oh, and a bird. Buzzard to the back of the head. It's always a good start to the day. I don't think that first guy was dead, so let's get out of the way. No, there he is. That's it for down here. Let's go deal with the neighbours. And somebody else still inside, I think. I can hear them smashing on some metal, so probably upstairs. There you are. Okay, now that that's cleared out, let's go have a play with this fire hazard. First thing I want to do is check how much damage it does to zombies. So let's summon in an Arlene. Get her attention. Let's see how much damage this does as she walks through. So it does damage over time. Looks like 10 damage for Arlene. Doesn't do a big spike as they walk through or anything like that. So let's just check it again against a feral. Nine damage that time. Excuse you, sneaking up on behind me. And let's just double check that with another feral, just to see if we're getting the same consistent results. 11 that time, although we did double back through it a little bit. So that could be the reason he got an extra one. Let's just try another one. So far we've had 9, 10, 11, but that kind of was contaminated by doubling back through the flames. And 8 this time. So I'm going to say that's mostly an 8 to 10 range for normal and feral zombies for a single pass through the fire. Now let's see what happens if we hold them in the fire. Let's just bring back Arlene again. And see if they burn down faster when they stand in there permanently. So far it's not looking particularly faster. It's a slow, is that one every half second roughly? Have to speed this up a little bit. Let's see how long it takes overall. Okay, so that definitely took a while, and definitely wasn't any faster by holding them in there. Let's also just have a look-see. I don't think that's going to be a fast enough rate of damage to kill a rad. And no, that certainly isn't. You can see its natural healing is negating any of the damage from the fire hazard. So this is looking like something, unless you're hitting the zombies with a rad remover, they're definitely not going to die from this. So use of the fire hazards as part of your base defenses is limited to sort of early to mid game. So that's all the testing I wanted to do. Why don't we do a quick cleanup of the floor area and we'll get to building. Now that's that's done, we're going to defend this back doorway here with the strongest of blocks possible, and that's a wood frame pipe thin block. For those that may not have seen it, I did a video back in Alpha 20 for the vanishing path caused by the pipe thin block, and it's definitely still working in Alpha 21. You throw these in the doorway here, and no zombies will see that as a path, and they'll just ignore it and not come through. It's much quicker and easier than building a zombie force field, and more importantly, you can just take the blocks out when you're done and use it as an exit again. So the idea for the base that I'm going to build is going to use a couple of electric fences that hold the zombies in the flames, preventing them from attacking the blocks that we're going to put through that doorway downstairs. So to have some access to the electric fences from this side of the wall, we're just going to put a little platform up here and then smash through this wall. We then need to take out the bottom two pieces of this stairway so that the zombies can't use this as an access, and then give ourselves a way back up with this ladder. Might also just clean up some of this floor trash, just to make sure that it doesn't get in the way either. On this side of the wall, we can now put up our electric fences, rotate them downwards to minimize the distance, just in case that becomes a factor when we try and connect up the wiring, and they're going to hang there just fine. Because the zombies aren't going to come up here at all, they shouldn't be in any danger. Down below, we can put in my standard melee defense blocks, which is the double pole rotated away like so at the bottom, and the double pillar 0.05 rotated to match up top. Now the occasional zombie will sneak through, but not too bad. Next we're going to dig out a pit to put in the electric fences down below. We're going to put in some in-floor heating, so to speak. Just stash these through on the other side of the wall. There we go. Make ourselves an exit and put in a doorway so that we don't fall through. Next we just need a generator to power it all up, like so, and then onto wiring. We're going to run the electric fence wires from the bottom up to the top, which means that if we need to do any repairs, that'll be up on the top block, which I think will just be easier to deal with rather than trying to get down into the pit during Horde Night. And then we can put this double doorway, one of the new double doorways in Alpha 21, into the hole there, just to break any line of sight that might happen. And there we go, base is complete. It's pretty simple, but let's see how it goes. Okay, just getting set for Horde Night. We've got our defensive position here with the flames going. And one thing that I've realized that we haven't done is given the zombies a clear way to enter. And before I electrocute myself this time, and kill myself for the millionth time on my own traps, let's turn that off and head through to the other side here. What we might just quickly do is smash out the wall over here, because we want to make sure that the zombies come through where we want them to come through, and not at some random other point that they decide. There we go. Nice little entrance for the zombies. They should be able to come straight through, run over to us, and get both electrified and barbecued at the same time. Okay, Horde Night is upon us. And vultures are on the roof where we have no vulture protection, but I don't think they'll be coming through, and we've forgotten to turn on our fences, so that will help. There we go. So you can see there all the zombies are getting immediately set on fire, as well as electrocuted. And we can just sit here and hopefully just melee away. It might actually be a good way to build a melee only base. But with 64 zombies, that's picking up a little bit. So maybe we won't just sit here and take out the cop. And that's probably our biggest issue with this base, is with the press of zombies. If we miss a cop, or if the fire does enough damage to bring the cop down to 40% and we don't hear it or see it with all this noise, then that would go boom, and I'm not sure what that's going to do to our flame hazard. But it is certainly a huge zombie barbecue at the portal here. Look at them go. I hope my graphics card doesn't go the same way as these zombies and fry itself, but we'll see. The other thing, of course, to note is that we won't be getting any XP for any of the zombies that the fire kills, because it is a hazard. It doesn't count to our XP. I do have a couple of points into advanced engineering, so we are getting a little bit of XP from any of the electrical fence kills, and obviously anything that we kill, we're getting max XP for. More cops. Definitely take care of them. The good part is with the flames and the fences, they take care of the dogs really nicely, so you don't have to worry about switching them so much. You can if you want, but they're always a little bit harder to hit. Didn't probably miss the trick with not putting any climbing protection up there to knock them back when they start to stack on each other's heads. So you can see they're doing a bit of damage to the blocks above if you're going to run this. Just about to say, if you're going to run this long time, you might want to look at repairing those. But here's what happens when the cops explode. It takes out the flame hazard. So that's probably not going to be ideal for our base. You could potentially defend against it a little bit by putting some concrete plate blocks or steel blocks in front of it. But from memory, the explosion damage does go through the blocks a little bit, especially that close. So I can't see this being a permanent and good solution to a combat base. You can see it's pretty damn hectic, even only on day 35. Although we are in the snow biome, so we've got the extra game stage working for us there. These have held up quite nicely and completely distracted the zombies. So we could run away at this point. But I think what we might do is rewind time and try a different approach of a base. Maybe go a little bit elevated to see whether dropping down the zombies from above and getting them lit on fire is a better way to go. Okay, so cleanup's done again. And we're going to put the same pipe-thin blocks back in this doorway because they worked a treat. And then this time we're going to build the base up from the same sort of position. So we're going to go with ladder here again, same sort of platform above, probably a slightly bigger platform because we're going to fight from it this time. We're not going to block off the door downstairs because that doesn't matter, the zombies can't get to us. And then we'll knock out some of the catwalk on the other side of this wall again and put in some centered side poles for the zombies to run across and then get knocked off, and we might use a sledge turret this time to knock them back down into the flames. So we can either fight if we wanted to take the sledge turret out of the way, or we can just mostly AFK it by watching what the sledge turret does by knocking them back out into the fire. We should be able to do some damage to the zombies that way. It'll mean minimal XP gain for us, simply because we're not going to be doing a lot of the fighting, but it's a good test to see how it goes using the flame hazard to sort of take care of the zombies on Horde Night. So now we've made a bit of space, we just need to put in the side-centered pole, as that's the one that the zombies will path over. And it's a nice thin sort of platform for them to walk over that can be easily knocked off of. Now we might actually put this over one, put that there, and that'll be our one line across. We can use the left-hand side as we look at it for us to stand and look through, but we'll just have the one path through, I think. Knock out a few more of these plates. Make sure we let the zombies in. Just pop the sledge turret here. That should knock the zombies off as they get to us. We should put them right down into the fire hazard. From there they can get up and wander back up the stairs and do it all over again. So pop back in our melee defense position, same as last time. I think we're good to go. Okay, here comes Horde Night for attempt number 2. Much simpler base this time, without all of the electric fences and stuff. Just a sledge turret and a simple beam, knocking the zombies down into the flame hazard. Fingers crossed anyway, that's the theory. And we've forgotten vulture defenses again, but hopefully that's okay. You can hear the zombies beating on the fence to get outside, so we'll just give them a sec and they should be here with us shortly. Oh, and I might have already missed one. Unless he came in downstairs. Oh, now why has he decided to path over there? Hopefully that was just rage mode kicking in or catwalk shenanigan pathing, because that second one did it just fine, and judging from that whiff of fire, whoa, sent. He's been sent down into the fire hazard just nicely. There you go, some of them are running directly under us to start with. See your doggo. Got that weird thing where the animation is having them float in the air for a little while. A bit more exposed to cops with here, since the cops are running around to us. They're certainly getting knocked off. There we go. Just get out of the way of that. So you certainly don't get a lot of chance to do any fighting from here, since that sledge turret is taking care of them before I can even hit them half the time. So what we might do in a second is just nip back around the corner and ow, and just hide away. And we'll disconnect the camera and have a look at what's happening on the other side. And by the glow of the zombies lit up in fire below, you can see that they're all definitely getting knocked down. They are going into a little bit of rage mode down here, because we're only a few blocks up. We're certainly within that 11 block radius. So that's going to potentially cause us problems a little bit. I guess it doesn't really matter unless they knock that whole wall down, which is unlikely. Or in case we get really unlucky and they rage mode on the fire hazard itself. Now I don't know whether that's possible. So that's one good thing that we can test while we're watching this. We'll see whether that rage mode on the fire hazards is a thing. So far so good though. Base is kind of working as expected. It's a lot more running into random directions and hitting on things than I expected, but that could be a side effect of my having to deal with rage mode too much in the last few bases that I've built. I'm not really having any problems with zombies looking like they're going to break through the melee position. The sledge is working just fine. Knocking them down, they're getting lit up. All is good. Just come back and do a little bit more fighting, just for the fun of it. Ouch. Oh, I hear one's about to explode from the sledge. And explode he did. So that's the problem of the sledge and fire damage, is that it does bring the zombies' health down, and of course, knocking them down and having them explode right down the bottom does bad things to the flame hazard. So, elevated base is a problem. I think even if we went higher up and didn't use a sledge, you know, we could get higher up on the roof so that we didn't have rage mode, but then you've got to deal with fire damage and fall damage, and they're going to still land right in the flame hazard, where if they did explode, it's going to blow it up. And I think we need to move on to option 3. Okay, time for our third and last option. I've opened up the doors, we've knocked out a hole for the zombies to come through, and this time we're going to go for a base where they pass through the flame, but don't stand in it and don't land in it, so that hopefully there's no chance of them blowing up the flame hazard. We've extended a hole through the wall and extended a path round to this upper level, where we've also built out a path using my favourite pole plate halve blocks, where the zombies will try and run across but typically just fall straight through. That will create the AFK component to our little bunker across here, where we can stand. The zombies will fall down here from these plate blocks and then run back around through the flames, which obviously I'm not going to do. Come back around across again on the path and repeat this over and over. For us to get around, we can just wander out the door and back through the side here. The zombies won't use this path, simply because it's a longer path, and the zombies are super smart and take the shortest path whenever they want to get to us. We can just sit up here, pretty much for the whole Horde Night. There's no point in trying to fight. I don't think any of the zombies will get to us, although we can obviously keep our weapons in case they do. But the goal here is to simply AFK the night, using the flame hazard to kill some zombies just for the fun of it. We're not going to get any XP, so this one is really just a proof of concept to see whether or not it can be done, and whether or not it's a good, viable base for those wanting an AFK. Can you hear the zombies knocking on the fence again? We're just going to tuck into this corner and probably spend the whole night with the camera detached, watching what happens to the zombies. You can see that because they're within range of us, they're going into rage mode in some interesting spots, attacking some random walls. Spiders are going to jump all over the place at us, I suspect. That's probably because they can see us through those plate blocks that I've used to try and minimize the size of the cube that I'm in. I could have used full blocks and that would have probably stopped them jumping at us, but I don't see that really causing a problem. There's not much for them to land on up there, and even if they do, then they'll probably fall off, and if not, we can always just melee them off. As you can see, the zombies are going to go smash up pretty much everything in this room, I suspect. I don't think that pole that I've built to support the base is essential, but we're probably going to find out, depending on how long we make it through Horde Night, whether or not that's supporting the base completely, or whether it's also supported from both of the walls. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the flaming entertainment. There's the morning. You can see that last cop explosion has blown up the fence, blown up the staircase, and the zombies can no longer path to us. You can see they've absolutely destroyed the generator room here, taken out nearly everything, and they've even taken out some of that pathing to the catwalk, which maybe in hindsight I shouldn't have left as catwalk, given that it only has 1000 HP. Should have replaced it with concrete. However, the base did work. Again, over here, those stairs that blew up only have 1000 HP, and the zombies are all now trying to find a new way to us. So it would be a good time for us to make our escape and bravely run away from any combat with this horde that's left, because I ain't equipped to deal with that. Open up and jump down here, and let's just leg it through the hole that they've nicely left in the fence for us, and we'll say goodbye to the horde from here. So there you have it. While both combat and AFK bases are possible with the flame hazard, I don't think that the damage that it puts out is worth it. For an AFK base to kill a demo with 1000 health at 8 to 10 damage per run through of a flame hazard, a demo would have to go through the fire hazard 100 times to die, and that's not even mentioning the fact that it just won't kill rads at all. In short, I don't see the benefit of using these as a base design at all. There are better options obviously for doing damage to zombies, and if you actually want an AFK base, I think it's better to try and do no damage to the zombies whatsoever, so that they don't blow up in inconvenient places. Overall, I think this needs a mention to the Fun Pimps, on a job well done frankly, that they've introduced this new type of hazard, which makes POIs more interesting, but doesn't unbalance the game, at least in any manner that I can think of to exploit. But if you think I've missed something, please call it out in the comments below. Either way, I hope you've enjoyed watching. If so, please add some fire to the like button, and if you'd like to see more videos like this one in the future, please subscribe and come back for the next one. As always, thanks for watching and happy building.